Hello everyone, today I want to show you how to do this herringbone wire weave, and it looks like this. So you get this really nice effect where it's this herringbone effect going up and down in rows almost next to each other, and it just builds along the way however long you want it to. So if you want to learn how to make this, then stay tuned. So what I'm just going to be demonstrating with is 4 lengths of my base wire here. That's a 1mm wire. And this is just using 4, but you can use more or less wires. It's the exact same technique. You'll just be going around more wires depending how many you want to use. And then I'm going to be using my 0.4mm wire to wrap with here, and this is a copper wire. So what we need to do to start off with is attach this weaving wire to one of the base wires. So I'll get my first one out, and then just put the end of your weaving wire behind, come around it just the once to attach it. So we have it attached nicely like that. And then we're already going to bring in the next one. So you grab your next base wire, lay it on top of the weaving wire and then above the previous base wire there, so it lies like that. And now we need to go straight in, and we're coming around from the back, the bottom of the wires. Then we need to take the weaving wire around the top of both of them and then around towards the back. So I'm having it come towards the back there. And then we need to come straight up in between the two that we just wrapped around. So like that. And then we bring in the next one. Again, lay it on top of the weaving wire there, the tail, and above the other base wires. So we now have the 3. And again, we take this around the top of the top 2 wires now, and then around the back, and then straight up through in between the ones you just wrapped, and then pull it down. So it looks like that. We now have 3 base wires. Going to take the last one, same thing, add it on top of the weaving wire and above the previous base wires. Take your weaving wire that's come up between the 2 previous wires, around the top, and then towards the back of those 2 top wires now. And again, up in between the 2 wires that you just wrapped. So it looks like this, and we're going to go straight around the top one now, just on its own, and again towards the back. So it's going to look a little something like this. So we wrapped around the bottom wire once, and then otherwise we wrapped around 2 wires once all the way up to the top, where the very top one we then wrapped around once on its own as well. And this is what means the same principle. You can add in however many wires you want to. You just keep going, wrapping around 2 wires at a time, until you reach the very top one, where you then do that extra wrap on its own. And then we're coming around towards the back. You want to come up between the top 2 again. So basically we're wrapping around that very top wire twice on its own, and again towards the back. So now we're in a position where we need to come back down again to achieve the other side of that herringbone look. So we need to go down 2 wires, 2 base wires, push it all the way down, and then now to come around the top again, we're coming around the top 2 wires there. So just around the top and down towards the back again, and then we need to step down another wire. So in my case, because I'm using 4, I'm coming up in between the 2 bottom wires there, but just always remember that when we're going back down, we're stepping down 1 base wire, then wrapping around 2 again. So that means when we come down, we need to come down between the 2 that we just wrapped previously. So I go down between the top 2 in my case because I'm using the 4, push it down, come down towards around the back again, and now we're at the point where we're incorporating the bottom wire again because I'm using the 4. So just come around that and then down between the 2 you just wrapped to make sure that this wrap comes just around 2 wires on its own there, and push it down. And then remember, because we're on the bottom now, same principle as the top, we need to wrap around the bottom wire on its own. We do that once, push it down, and again to make it twice. So every time we're on an end wire, whether it's top or the bottom, we always wrap around that outer wire twice on its own before we then go back into once around 2 wires at a time. So coming from below, around the top, and go up 2 wires, So we're wrapping around 2 wires there together. Up in between the 2 wires you just wrapped, and move up 1 wire to come down in between your next 2 base wires, so you're just wrapping around 2 wires, and again come up between the 2 wires you just wrapped and up towards the top. I'm at the top again now, so we're just going around the 2 top wires just like this, up in between the 2 we just wrapped, and again around the top one on its own. Remember to do that twice, because we basically need to fill in the little gap that's going to be at the top, and then always push it down. And then that's basically the principle of the wrap. And as you go in, you'll see you can kind of pull it apart like this, so you get this pattern to it. But as you're building the wire weave here, just make sure to push it tight, and then it will kind of bunch up together and become a nice and tight weave. So you just keep going up and down like this, doing the same thing for however long you want to. So I've now kept going with my same weave here, building it up, and then it ends up looking something like this. So obviously this is with the 4 base wires, but you get this pattern to it where it's almost like the herringbone going up and down, and just building next to each other. And it can get a really nice and dense weave and give a really nice effect, adding to whatever project that you want to use it for. So this is how you do this weave. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to do a figure of 8 wire weave, and I'm going to show you both how to do it with 2 base wires here, and when showing a normal weave and then a more open weave, and then also how to add in more base wires. And in this case I'm showing it with 3, so again a normal weave and a more open weave. And this is a very commonly used weave and useful for many different things. So if you want to learn more, then stay tuned. So what I'm going to start out with is showing you the weave